Hello everybody, my name is Zeal and welcome to my YouTube channel. I know you're probably wondering who is she, what is she about? That's why I'm creating this, because I'm here to make a difference in each and every one of your lives and have an impact in the world. And how am I going to do that if you don't know what I'm about, what I stand for, what my values are, and how I can help you and serve you? So a lot of you might think that I'm a fitness professional, which I am. I've worked in over a dozen gyms. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer. I've done online fitness coaching. I work for a bunch of fitness companies right now. I've done 7 fitness competitions and I won a couple world competitions. So you think fitness, and that's totally understandable for you to automatically think that. I know a lot of you might think I'm an actress, which I'm also an actress as well. I've done a lot of TVs, commercials, films, shows. I have a professional dancing background. I did that for many, many years. But if there's one thing that I've always been extremely passionate about, and probably began in college for me with Professor Dr. Gilbert, is self-improvement and improving oneself, and how can you show up at an elite level in everything that you do. I was an elite and world athlete when I was younger. That translated into professional dancing later in life. And now I have cultivated a coaching, consulting, presenting business where I help people really become the best version of themselves and how they go from the level they're at to the next level they are in life. There's multiple ways that I do that, but I usually talk about situations and stories that I've been in, how I've overcome it, the coaching that I've had, the resources I've had, the books that I read, the YouTubes that I watch. It's really all encompassing. I would probably say the catalyst that really helped me take off was in 2008 when I discovered Tony Robbins. I've been to all of Tony Robbins' events. I've done multiple programs of his. I've gone to Grant Cardone events, Gabby Bernstein, some people that I listen to, that I love to listen to, that are mentors, not directly, but through information and knowledge and videos and books, are Myron Golden, I said Brendan Burchard, Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, I said Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, so many people, and I'm constantly learning and growing and wanting to become the best version of myself. So starting this YouTube channel, I was originally going to talk about this concoction I drink every morning that gives me energy, and it's detoxifying and it's healing and all that stuff. And literally the night before I was going to shoot my first video, I had something extremely tragic happen to me. And I thought I would talk about that, because I want you to know that I'm here to talk about things that really matter, that pertain to everybody, or maybe it's something you haven't been through yet, but you will go through. And we're here to talk about life and what really matters. And so basically, the long story short was I adopted a kitten 2 weeks ago, and I'm an animal lover. I have 2 other cats. I've had pets my whole life. And she was sick when I got her. And I did everything I could to nurse her back to health. We went to the doctor. We got medicine. We did treatments. We did all of the things. And she wasn't as sick as I knew her to be. Like, I didn't know how sick she was. And she passed away in my bed a little before, after having her for 2 weeks. And I was positively, completely devastated. So I'm here to talk about grief and how to heal through it and get through it. And it's something that every single person on earth will go through, whether it's a parent, whether it's a grandparent, children, neighbors, friends, animals. It is a part of life. And it's how we get through it that really matters. And because you want to be healthy and whole and feel good. And sometimes that's not how life goes. We don't always feel good through everything, especially the learning times in our life when we're most challenged, when God really throws us a curveball and we didn't see it coming, and it knocks us on our ass. So I thought this was, and I've never had a sick animal. Like, I've had sick animals that I've nursed back to health. I've never had one that passed away on me. And I believe the lady sold her to me sick, but I believed that I could nurse her back to health, and I couldn't. And this was devastating for me. And grief, the one thing that I've been doing, because everybody grieves differently. Okay, that's number one. There's no right way or wrong way to go through a time of grief. And it comes over you in waves, and there's stages. And, the first day I did, right after it happened, I had to give a presentation, which I knew I just had to hold it together for an hour, that I just, last minute, it was a commitment. I couldn't not do it. So I just grit my teeth and got through it. And then I canceled everything else the rest of the day. Because I was a mess. I was a shattered mess. It was uncontrollable. I was crying, sobbing uncontrollably. It was just a pain. This poor little soul that I tried to save, and I really tried to save her. I couldn't. And then, the tape played in my head. What else could I have done? Was there anything I could have done differently? Did I do everything that I could? Am I a bad person? These are all honestly normal and natural thoughts to have when you're going through the grief process, especially if you cared for somebody, you cared for a sick animal. My experience with death, this was an interesting thought that I had, because all my other previous experiences were grandparents, maybe family members that I wasn't that close to, where we either saw it coming or they weren't close enough to me where it had such an impact on me. It was like sad, but this was out of the blue. I wasn't expecting this. And, people come here to teach us, and spirits and other animals come here to teach us different lessons. And I believe every single person that comes in our path, they're here to teach us unconditional love in some form, whether it's from them or whether it's through us learning to love ourselves more. And I decided to talk about it. And I did something that was counterintuitive to what I wanted to do. I shared about it on social media. And I got a lot of help and comfort from doing that, because people reached out to me that I've never talked to before, that got vulnerable with me and shared me their stories that made me feel comforted and better, to know that I was not alone. People have gone through this before. They've gone through it. I'm going to get through it. And, I actually shared with one of my coaches what was going on, and I came to find that this was his first Mother's Day without his mother, and he was literally dipping out of the event he was at, or the Mother's Day celebration he was at, to go into the bathroom and cry because he missed his mom. And, I was at work that day, and I went into the bathroom stall and I cried. And I remember thinking to myself, how silly is this, that I'm in a bathroom stall right now crying in public about this little kitten, but I was grief-stricken. It was just coming over me. And to know that I wasn't the only person on earth doing that made me feel better, To know that people that I had never talked to before ever were reaching out, offering their time, their energy, their attention, their love and support, and their prayers, that helped. That really helped, to know that I was that cared about, because I chose to be vulnerable and I chose to share my pain with others. And it gets a little easier each day. I'm going to probably say that losing a mother or a family member or a brother or sister, the intensity is going to be heightened versus a baby little kitten that I had for 2 weeks. Nonetheless, grief is grief. and everybody handles it and processes it differently. And one of my coaches had said, that person, that spirit, that animal, wherever they are right now, they don't want you to let this grief take you off of your path. You still need to stay the course, stay on your mission, and keep walking ahead. Take time out to pull yourself aside and grieve and do whatever you got to do, but then you got to get back on the horse and keep going. You can't let it interfere with your main mission and main purpose. And then I had another friend, she's an intuitive. I really reached out and I talked a lot about it. And I'm still talking about it. This is part of my healing process. I was actually making these little cartoons of what I thought she looked like in heaven, and I gave her wings. And I'm actually thinking about writing a children's book about her to help children get over grief and get through it and help them understand it better, because it's something we all have to go through. And there are parts of it that are very hard to understand. And I find my brain keep doing this thing. It keeps going back and playing this, well, what if this? Well, what if that? Well, what if this? And I'm like, why does that keep happening? Because that's part of the grief. And as an adult, as an aware adult who works on themselves insanely, I can see myself doing that. Not everybody's that self-aware, and they need to get over that hump, or especially children. Somebody needs to explain to children the process of grief and how it comes over you in waves, and it's a healing process, and you have to work through it and talk through it. It's something you work through and talk through. If you bottle it up and don't talk about it and get quiet about it, that's going to prolong it. It's going to make it hurt more. You really want to get into and jump into the healing process as soon as possible. And I think the jumping in is probably the hardest to do. That's where people get stuck. They don't know how to jump in. They fear, there's shame, guilt, sadness. We're not put on this earth to feel sad. We're put on this earth to learn lessons. And this is one of the lessons. But I wanted to just circle back to my friend who is an intuitive. She had, we all serve a purpose. And, she said to me, spirit will block certain things so the natural order of things will happen. Because sometimes you have these unanswered questions. Why this? Why that? You don't have the answers. You'll never have the answers. So how do you move forward thinking positively about the experience and having learned the lesson from it? Don't lose the lesson in the pain. Find the lesson in the pain and then move forward, and then you can then share it with somebody else. So my little baby's name was Cupcake, and she's in heaven now, and she has her wings. That's what I believe. And I want you to know that if you're out there, grief is a normal part of life, and we all go through it. If you're really struggling with it, you can reach out to me on Instagram or on here, and I'll answer your message and we can talk about it. They have grief counselors. They have grief workshops. They have grief retreats. I had a friend, she lost her husband, and she did a lot of work on herself to move her through that. And, that included women's retreats that they had, where women had lost, they were widows, unexpected widows, and they all went to this retreat to heal and grow and come together. We're here for each other. That's why we're here. We're not here to live in a vacuum or do this thing called life alone. We're here for each other. And I know that I'm a teacher. I'm a mentor. I've gone through a lot of things in my life. I've come over the other side, and I'm here to reach back and help others who are going through the same thing. So I hope you got some value out of my first YouTube. I hope it brought you some peace and enlightenment. And until the next one, have an amazing day.